Lena woke before dawn, her small apartment silent, except for the soft hum of the city beyond her window. She sat on the edge of her bed and stared at the empty space beside her pillows. A year ago, her best friend Kai had moved across the galaxy to start a new life on Auriga Station. Ever since, Lena felt a hollow ache in her chest, as if part of her had been carried away. She missed his laugh, his steady calm on stormy days, and the way he always believed in her ideas of on when everyone else doubted. Each morning, Lena's routine reminded her of Kai. She brewed a cup of mint tea, the same kind he loved, and stared out at the rising sun. The light touched her face, and for a moment she felt warmth, but then she remembered Kai was not there to share it. She opened her hollow portfolio, hoping to distract herself with the project they once dreamed up together, a community greenhouse that would grow food in space. Without him, the drawings felt unfinished. At her workshop station, Lena ran her fingers over the designs. She remembered the day they sketched the first blueprint on an old datapad. Kai had drawn arches that curved like ocean waves, and Lena had filled them with rows of glowing plants. They had laughed when the station engineers told them it was impossible. But humans were curious and brave, and they kept working. That was the heart of their plan, to help people eat fresh greens, even in the cold reaches of space. Now Lena felt unsure. She tapped her finger on the send icon next to the message thread she and Kai used to share. The text box lay empty. She wanted to write, "I miss you," but the words felt too small. What could she say that sounded brave? What could she do to show him that she still believed in their dream even if it had paused? Doubt whispered that Kai had moved on, that he had found new friends among the aurora trees of his new home. Lena closed her eyes and remembered Kai's promise. No matter where we go, we keep our dreams alive. We grow something beautiful. She drew a steady breath. Humans were resilient. They faced empty darkness and lit it with hope. If she could plant seeds in zero gravity, she could find a way to reach Kai's heart again. She opened her hollow portfolio and started a new file, a short video letter. She recorded herself among the scattered circuits and metal shelves of her workshop. In the soft glow of emergency lights, she spoke about the greenhouse plans and how the station council had approved their first test module. She held up a tiny sprout, a tender green leaf unfurling in a clear dome. "Look," she said, voice catching, "we did it. I did it for both of us." She smiled, fighting back tears. "I want you here to see it in person someday. Until then, I hope this brings you home a little." Lena edited the clip to include sketches of the greenhouse arches and a map of her station with a blinking icon, marking Kai's new world. She attached a recording of the seedlings germinating under special lights. Then she hesitated before pressing send. Her heart thundered. Fear crept in. What if he did not answer? But she remembered every time Kai had stood by her side when things felt impossible. That belief gave her courage. She tapped the button and watched the hollow message fade into the network. Silence returned to her workshop, but Lena did not feel empty. Instead, she felt a gentle glow, like the first light through a greenhouse window. She imagined Kai watching her video across the stars, hearing her voice and seeing the sprout grow. Somewhere out there, he might smile and reach for a reply. Lena shut down her workstation and leaned back, looking up at the ceiling panels where tiny stars were painted. Humans had crossed light years to build stations and cities. They had carried hope with them. And now Lena believed with all her heart that hope would bring her friend back, not just in message, but in spirit and in person. She rose and walked to the window, where the city's glow met the horizon of space. Tomorrow, she would check her comes at sunrise. Human hearts could bridge any distance. Lena closed her eyes, breathing in hope, and waited. Lena woke to the soft chime of her comes terminal. She hurried to the workshop and tapped the screen. Still no reply from Kai. She felt a sting of disappointment, but she steadied her breath. Humans did not give up. Light years could not break hope, neither could silence. She closed her eyes and whispered, "I will find a way." She dressed quickly and stepped outside onto the station's ring promenade. Beneath her feet, panels glowed with gentle light. Above, huge windows showed the black expanse dotted with stars. Lena smiled at a group of children chasing a rolling orb. Their laughter echoed around the walkway. Human joy, she thought, was stronger than any distance. At the greenhouse test module, engineers assembled the next prototype. Lena checked the controls and smiled at the healthy saplings reaching for the light. She thought of Kai, imagining him studying the same plants under Auriga's sun lamps. She tapped a command to record new growth data and prepared another message. This time she would invite Kai to join the module launch ceremony. She paused before sending. Her finger hovered, and doubt crept in. What if he still did not answer? She pressed send anyway. Story by story, humans connected. Every voice mattered. She pictured the day Kai would walk into the greenhouse, see the living arches, and feel the warm air. She believed that day would come. Later, Lena joined a meeting of station planners. They discussed sharing the greenhouse design with other colonies. When she spoke, her voice was clear and confident. She described how the plants could feed isolated crews or rebuild barren worlds. Eyes around the table shone with excitement. She felt the human spirit rising in the room. After the meeting, Lena walked through the residential sector. She greeted neighbors, picked up supplies, and helped an elderly man carry a crate of seedlings. He thanked her with a gentle bow. Small acts of kindness, she thought, built the web of connection that spanned galaxies. Even if Kai was far away, their shared dream was alive in every sprout. Back in her quarters, Lena placed a hala of Kai on her desk, a still image from their last video call. She studied his smiling face and felt warmth. She remembered how he always said, "No matter the distance, we are one." She reached out and touched the hala. "I believe that," she whispered. Night fell on the station. Lena climbed to the observation deck, where the stars seemed close enough to touch. She sat on a bench and let the silent beauty fill her heart. Humans had once looked up at the same stars and wondered if they were alone. Now they sailed between worlds. That bravery lived in her blood. She pulled out her datapad and opened a new file. This time, she wrote a poem, simple and brief, about two friends separated by space but joined by hope. She recorded her voice, reciting the lines, and sent it to Kai with a note. Maybe words can cross faster than ships. She imagined him listening, and that gave her strength. Later that night, her comms terminal lit up. A message from Kai blinked on the screen. Her heart pounded. She tapped it open and saw a short text. "I saw your video and poem. You amaze me every day. I'm coming home soon." Lena felt tears of joy. Human persistence had bridged the void. She recorded a quick reply. "I cannot wait. We have so much to build together." She added a smiley face, just like Kai used to. She pressed send and laughed aloud, her voice echoing in the empty room. Tomorrow would bring more work on the greenhouse, more messages, and steps toward new worlds. But tonight, Lena let herself feel pure happiness. The bond she and Kai shared had not weakened. It had grown stronger across the stars. She turned off the terminal and looked out at the swirling station lights. Humanity's hope, she knew, was as endless as the universe itself. And in that hope, even the greatest distance could vanish. Lena opened her eyes to the gentle hum of the station's life support systems. Today, she decided she would do something different. She had sent videos and poems, but Kai still lived many light years away. She wanted to feel closer, to let him know that her world was changing and that he was part of that change. She walked through the greenhouse module, where the living arches formed glowing tunnels of green. The scent of fresh leaves filled the air. Lena reached out and touched a vine's smooth stem, thinking of Kai's steady hand on her shoulder when hope faltered. She whispered to the plants, "Grow strong for both of us." Even plants needed encouragement, she thought, and humans did too. At her workstation, Lena drafted a new plan, a virtual tour of the greenhouse. She had seen holotours on other stations where people could feel present in distant places. She imagined Kai stepping through the arches in his mind. Hearing the soft drip of nutrient mist, she sketched a simple interface, buttons to rotate views, a click to hear her voice explain each growth stage. This tour would be her gift away to bring him home. Yet she recorded narration beside each plant group. "Here are our salad greens," she said into the mic, voice calm and clear. "They bend toward the light like we bend toward our dreams." Her words felt powerful. Humans had built cities on airless rocks and grown gardens in metal boxes. That spirit, that spark was HFY. It lived in her words and in every leaf. After editing, Lena tested the tour on her halovisor. She floated through the arches, turning corners and tagging panels to pop up data. She paused at a new bloomer small flower that glowed soft blue. "Kai, look at this," she recorded. "Our first flower. You always said beauty could thrive anywhere." Her smile in the recording was genuine, full of pride and longing. She packaged the tour and sent a note. "No need to download, just open an AnyComes hub. I want you here, but until then, walk these halls with me." Then she pressed send. Her heart pounded as the message shot into the net. Doubt whispered, but Lena repeated her own words. Humans did not give up when silence answered. The afternoon passed in a blur of meetings and system checks. Lena kept an eye on her Comes terminal, but it remained quiet. She leaned on hope, an active ally. She joined a group testing a seed distribution network for remote outposts. She spoke about kindness and connection, how sending seeds was like sending friendship across voids. The engineers nodded, inspired. Lena felt the hum of human unity around her. Evening fell, and Lena climbed to the observation dome. The curved glass showed a panorama of stars and distant planets. She closed her eyes and let the vastness settle. In light years away, Kai watched other skies. Yet they both shared this sky, this universe. That thought made her feel less alone. She opened her eyes and touched her hollow bracelet. She had added a new feature, a heartbeat recorder. She pressed a button and recorded her pulse for 10 seconds, sending the data with a note. "When you feel this, know I'm here, steady and true." It was a small bridge between bodies and space, an echo of life from her to him. Late that night, Lena's Comes terminal glowed. A message from Kai appeared. "Tour received. I felt like I walked beside you, that flower." I cried. "I'm coming back." Lena stood still, breath caught in her throat. Tears of joy rolled down her cheeks. Human hope had spanned the gap once more. She tapped a reply. "Safe travels, my friend. Be here, tending the arches until you arrive." She added a small drawing of the greenhouse and a sprig of blue petals. Then she saved her work and powered down the Comes. Lena looked up. At the painted stars on the dome's ceiling, each point of light was a promise that even across empty space, human hearts could beat together. She carried that promise in her chest, steady and bright. And as she walked back through the silent corridors, she felt her own heart grow full of hope of HFY, and of the joy that comes when two friends find their way back to each other. Lena woke before the sunlights filled the windows. Pounded with hope and nerves. Today Kai would arrive. She dressed quickly and walked to the greenhouse module. The arches glowed soft green in the dim morning. She touched the smooth stem of a vine and smiled. "You'll help me welcome him," she whispered. Even plants could share in joy. Humans had turned metal and glass into living homes. That spirit gave Lena courage as she faced the day. She moved to the workshop and picked up a small box of colored lights. Yesterday she had borrowed them from the station festival store. She would string them along the greenhouse arches. She tested each strand, watching colors shift in soft waves. She imagined Kai's face lighting up at the sight. Every light was a signal. "Welcome home." Lena worked steadily, steady hands, guided by hope. Even when doubt crept in, she remembered human grit and carried on. At mid-morning, station engineers arrived to help. They brought ladders and tools. Lena led them through the arches. Together they lifted cables and clipped lights overhead. One engineer laughed when a strand slipped, but Lena caught it. She joined his laugh, feeling warmth spread. Humans built bridges with laughter and teamwork. Every person who helped made the welcome stronger. Lena thanked each helper by name. Their friendly greetings felt like home. She realized that community was the heart of hope. During a brief break, Lena sat by a workbench. She stared at her hollow bracelet, where Kai's message still glowed. Stay strong. Her chest tightened. She missed him so much that her throat felt dry. Yet she pressed her hand to her heart and took a breath. Humans faced empty darkness and lit it with light. She could face anxious moments too. She whispered, I am ready. In that instant, she felt his calm voice in her mind. Back in the greenhouse, Lena checked the sensors and nutrient flow. She knelt beside a row of lettuce sprouting bright green leaves. She stroked the soil and spoke softly. Grow steady for Kai. The plants had endured cold metal and zero gravity. Now they grew full of life. That was HFY, the human spark. Inside every seed, Lena stood and inspected the lights again. They formed glowing arcs above each plant row, like ribbons of welcome. Afternoon shadows stretched across the floor. Lena hurried to finish the last light. A flicker told her the power feed was loose. She climbed a ladder and tightened a bolt. Her fingers slipped, and she lost her balance. Rattled her mind. But she caught a support beam and steadied herself. She climbed down, heart racing but unhurt. Humans learn from mistakes, she thought. Every challenge made her stronger. She straightened the lights and tested the circuit. All strands glowed perfectly. With the lights in place, Lena prepared a small table of gifts. She arranged a bundle of fresh herbs from the greenhouse and a holophoto of her and Kai planting the first seed. She added a small model of the station ring they had built together. Each item held meaning and memory. Lena tread carefully around her work, wanting everything perfect. She thought of Kai stepping through the arches, seeing these gifts. That moment would heal the distance between them. Evening came, and the greenhouse cooled. Lena stood at the entrance and watched the lights glow like stars fall into earth. She closed her eyes and let the sight fill her. Humans had once stared at dark skies and dreamed of touching the stars. Now they walked through living gardens. In space, that dream, she realized, was alive in her and in Kai. Distance could not dim dreams. Hope shone brighter than any star. Late at night, Lena heard a distant rumble. She hurried up to the observation deck. Through the windows, she saw a small shuttle gliding toward the station. Her breath caught. The shuttle bore the marking of the human fleet.
Oh.
She felt her pulse quicken. At that moment, she knew all her work had meaning. HFY was not just words, it was living each day with hope and courage. She watched as the shuttle docked. Lena raced back to the greenhouse. She stood beneath the glowing arches, heart full. A hatch opened, and Kai stepped through the doorway. His eyes widened at the lights and plants. He held a small bag in his hand. Lena ran forward and they embraced. Both smiled with tears. In that moment, all distance vanished. Two friends reunited by hope, by human strength, and by a garden that spanned the stars. Lena woke to the soft hum of the station's life support fans. Today she planned something new, a shared moment that might bridge the gap between her and Kai. She dressed quickly and carried a tray of freshly baked herb rolls from the greenhouse's kitchen bay. The scent of rosemary and thyme filled the air, stirring memories of late-night talks with Kai over warm food. She laid the rolls on a small table in the station's communal lounge and paused. Humans held comfort in simple things. A shared meal. A heartfelt conversation. Maybe this small act would remind Kai of home. She set up a holoprojector beside the table and loaded it with a menu, images of the herb rolls, sketches of the greenhouse. Under Aurora's light and tiny video clips of budding plants. She arranged the glowing arches overhead with gentle lanterns borrowed from the festival store. The lights cast warm patterns on the walls. Lena thought of Kai stepping into this lounge and feeling the welcome in every detail. Even if the room stood empty, the care she had poured into it spoke volumes. Humanity shone brightest when people reached out to one another. As mid-morning arrived, station residents filtered into the lounge. Lena greeted them with a smile and offered rolls. She explained her plan. I'm making this place feel like home for someone special. Engineers, botanists, and even a few children gathered, sharing laughter and stories over the warm bread. Lena felt her heart swell as the room buzzed with kindness. Humans built community not through grand gestures but through compassion and warmth. Each guest's smile made the lounge glow brighter. She wondered if Kai could feel this energy from Afar, while the crowd enjoyed the rolls, Lena stepped aside to send Kai a hollow invitation. She recorded herself in the lounge, voice steady. Kai, I wish you were here to taste these rolls. We miss your stories and your gentle laugh. Come join us when you arrive. She touched the projector's controls, looping her message so it would play continuously. Then she let a hush fill her throat. Sending a message felt brave. Humans did not shrink from longing. They used it to fuel hope. After the guests left, Lena gathered the empty plates and dimmed the lanterns. She watched. The projector's looped invitation flicker on the wall. A tear slipped down her cheek as she remembered Kai's quiet encouragement when her fears rose. She pressed her hand to her chest, feeling gratitude for their bond. Distance might stretch across light years, but human hearts could close that. Stretch with effort and love. She whispered, I'm waiting, Kai. I'll keep making this place our home. Lena then ventured to the hydroponics lab with a small bouquet of lavender. She arranged the flowers in a clear vase and took a hollow photo of the display. Lavender, she knew, reminded Kai of summer fields on Earth and of the first day they met under a lavender sky. She sent the photo with a short note. I picked these just for you. Even a simple flower could carry the weight of 1,000 words. She believed that small symbols held power to heal and reconnect. Late that evening, Lena walked the ring promenade under the starlit viewports. The station's lights reflected on the glass, creating twin galaxies of hope. She paused at a bench and closed her eyes. Humans had once been afraid of the void. Now they built homes among the stars. That courage lived in her heart. She imagined Kai's footsteps joining hers, his voice greeting her across the silent expanse. In her mind, they spoke without words, connected by the quiet promise of reunion. Back in her quarters, Lena settled into a chair beside her hollow portfolio. She reviewed the day's efforts, the soup of supportive smiles, the warm rolls, the lavender bouquet. Each act felt like a seed planted in the soil of friendship. She recorded a final message. I am proud of us. We keep growing no matter how far apart we are. She pressed send and leaned back, heart full. Human hope was a living thing, nourished by small acts of kindness and steadfast belief. And with that hope, Lena knew she and Kai would soon stand together again. Lena woke to an alarm on her comms terminal. A sensor in the greenhouse had detected a drop in temperature. She grabbed her coat and hurried through the station corridors. In the greenhouse, the arches glowed dimly. Frost was forming. On the outer panes, Lena's heart froze. Without warmth, the young plants could die. She pressed her palm to her hollow bracelet. Come on, she whispered. Humans faced cold and danger and found a way. She would too. She activated the emergency heaters, but they sputtered and failed. Panic rose in her chest. She ran to the control panel and scanned the error logs. Power surge had tripped the main feed. She needed to reroute energy from a secondary line, but the manual valves were in the engineering bay across the station. Lena swallowed her fear. Distance meant nothing to a determined heart. She grabbed her toolkit and raced toward the bay. The engineering bay doors hissed open. Lena found the valve controls under a panel marked Auxiliary Power. She knelt and pried the cover off. Sparks flew from a frayed wire. Lena's fingers trembled, but she remembered human ingenuity. She carefully twisted the wires back into place and secured them with a clamp from her toolkit. Then she turned the valve wheel. A hum filled the hall as power flowed back to the greenhouse. Lena exhaled, relief washing over her. Back in the greenhouse, warmth returned. The arches glowed brighter and the frost melted into mist. Lena knelt beside a row of lettuce and touched a leaf. It was soft and alive again. She smiled through tears. Humans did not let life die when they cared. She called the emergency system off and checked every sensor. All readings were normal. She allowed herself a moment to rest. In that moment, she felt Kai's steady presence beside her. She whispered, "We made it." Lena realized the crisis had reminded her of something important. Shared struggle made bonds stronger. She decided to send Kai a quick hollow clip. She recorded herself wiping sweat from her brow, standing among the glowing plants. "Today I nearly lost them," she said, voice soft. "But I fixed it. This garden lives for both of us," she added a smile. Then she sent the clip, along with a note. "I want your help when you arrive. We'll face any challenge together." With the crisis over, Lena turned her mind to celebration. She gathered a handful of fresh basil leaves and arranged them in a small vase. She placed the vase on her desk beside the hollow photo of her and Kai planting the first seed. She tapped out a message. "These leaves smell like home. Keep them with you until you're back." She pressed send and closed her eyes. Even small gifts could carry love across light years. Night arrived, and the station lights dimmed for quiet hours. Lena climbed to the observation deck. The vast sky spread above her, stars winking in the black. She traced constellations she and Kai had named together. Each star reminded her of his laughter and his calm voice. Humans once looked to the stars and felt alone. Now they built homes among them. That bravery beat in her heart, steady as the starlight. On her way back, Lena paused at the communal lounge. The lanterns and projectors stood silent. She imagined the moment Kai would step inside and see everything she had done. A mix of nerves and excitement fluttered in her stomach. She touched the doorway frame, iced by the earlier frost. She rubbed her fingers along the metal, leaving warm prints on cold steel. Believed that human warmth could conquer any chill. Returning to her quarters, Lena found a new message blinking on her comes terminal. Her breath caught. She tapped it open and saw Kai's face, smiling through the holoscreen. Said, "I heard about the greenhouse. I'm proud of you. I'll be there in 1 hour." Lena's eyes filled with tears of joy. The crisis had tested her, and she had proven her strength. Now that strength would guide their reunion. She replied, "Safe travels. I'll meet you at the greenhouse." She powered down the terminal and stood in the center of her room. The small lavender bouquet still glowed softly under a small lamp. She picked it up and inhaled its scent, her reminder of home. She tucked it into her coat pocket and headed out, heart pounding with hope. Lena walked quickly to the greenhouse, each step echoing in the empty corridor. When she opened the doors, the glowing arches greeted her like old friends. Beneath the lights waiting, her chest felt full of light. Humans had faced darkness and cold, and they had turned it into warmth and life. She knew that soon she would see Kai's face in that same glow. And in that moment, all distance would vanish. Lena stood at the entrance of the greenhouse as dawn's light touched the glowing arches. Today was the day Kai would finally return to this place she had built with hope and sweat. Her heart pounded with excitement and a touch of nervousness. She smoothed the front of her jacket and took a breath. Humans had once crossed oceans and climbed mountains to be with each other. They had sailed between stars for the same reason, to find home in one another. Lena reminded herself of that courage as she waited. The soft hiss of the airlock opening echoed through the corridor. Lena's chest tightened. She stepped forward and watched the shuttles hatch lower. Kai emerged, stepping into the archway's gentle light. He paused, eyes wide with wonder. Lena's breath caught as she saw the same calm smile she remembered. For a moment, they simply looked at each other in silence. Two friends reunited across the vast expanse of space. Then Kai closed the distance. He reached out and gently took Lena's hand. His touch warmed her like the first sunbeam on frozen glass. Lena smiled through tears as she guided him deeper into the greenhouse. The soft green glow danced across his face. "Welcome home," she whispered. Humans built homes out of stone and steel, but the truest home was found in caring hearts. In that moment, Lena knew their friendship had created the strongest shelter of all. They walked side by side through the plant arches. Kai bent to examine the blue flower they had grown together, his fingers brushing its petals. "Kept its promise," he said softly. Lena nodded, pride filling her chest. She led him to the table where the small gifts waited. The bundle of fresh herbs, the halophoto of their first planting, and the model of the station ring. Kai picked up each item and held them carefully, as if he could feel Lena's heartbeat in every detail. Lena watched him and remembered the lonely days she had faced without him. Each message she sent, each poem, each small gift had been a lifeline. Across the void, humans did not yield to emptiness. They lit it with kindness and persistence. That spark of HFY burned brightly in her, and now it shone in Kai's eyes too. She realized that their shared hope had grown stronger than any distance. Kai turned to Lena and spoke with gentle certainty. Every light here, every plant, every gift all brought me home again. Thank you for never giving up. His voice trembled with emotion. Lena felt tears slip down her cheeks. She reached up to touch his face, careful and tender. Waited because I believed, she said. We are stronger together, no matter how far apart we roam. They stepped outside into the stations. Ring Promenade, where the sun of a distant star cast warm beams through the viewport. Lena pointed to the stars beyond. Look, she said. Those are the worlds we have yet to reach. Together, we can bring hope to every station and colony. Kai nodded, his eyes bright with excitement. He wrapped an arm around Lena's shoulders. Let's build more greenhouses, more gardens, more places where people feel at home. He replied, his hand squeezed hers with purpose. As they walked, station residents recognized Kai and greeted the pair with smiles and nods. Engineers paused their work to wave. Children ran up with small saplings in their hands, gifts for Lena and Kai. Each offering felt like a promise that the community would carry their dream forward. Lena's heart soared. Humans thrived when they lifted each other, and this community had done just that. At the greenhouse entrance, Lena and Kai turned to face each other once more. They stood beneath the glowing arches, two figures bathed. In gentle green light, Kai took both of Lena's hands. Distance may be part of our story, he said, but it will never define us. Lena smiled, tears of joy glimmering in her eyes. Our bond is stronger than light years, she replied softly. Our hope will guide every step. Together, they stepped through the greenhouse into a new day. The arches hummed with life and promise, just as Lena's heart thrummed with hope. In the soft green glow, two friends walked side by side, ready to face whatever challenge came next. For human hearts could bridge any gap, and human hope could light the darkest expanse. As Lena and Kai moved forward, they carried that truth with them, and the universe felt a little smaller, a little brighter, and infinitely more full of possibility.